What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Westworld Season 3, Episode 7 review, breakdown, and discussion about just what the flip just happened. If you're new here and like what you're watching, please do click that subscribe button and also hit the like button if you enjoyed the episode, and comment down below with your thoughts on the episode as well, because I love to hear just what you actually think about this episode. So it's here at long last, we get a Caleb-centric episode, and while we got a big insight into just what happened to him and his pal, we did not get a huge look at his earlier life. And to me, the part where we see Dolores and himself in the diner is a big indicator into his life. His earlier life, we can now presume, with his mum not coming to save him or going missing, is him being taken to a re-education centre as a child. Regardless, the revelations were big in this episode, and the devil is in the detail, with the little parts and nods that actually make Westworld just so great. We get a good look at what Caleb was doing in his pre-Dolores life. He was, or he thought he was, a military player in a war-torn Crimea. This does fit into the timeline, as it's been noted in the Rehoboam circle screens that the Russian Civil War did actually happen. So Solomon or Serac, or who the hell is actually in charge now, are using the real life situations to re-educate these people. Over the course of the episode, we learn just what happened to Caleb and how the Rico app was actually sending him targets to take down outliers. He was a sort of outlier terminator there, the equalizer. I discussed the outliers in last week's video, where I state that Serac is on a course of human destruction of his own making. By making the outliers fit in with his own data model, then it is just ensuring the decimation in the future will actually happen. Caleb has been taking a sort of pharmaceutical drug that makes him either think he is in the Crimea or just makes him on autopilot there. It disassociates what he is actually thinking. Interestingly, the interrogation scene we have seen throughout the season features a pharmaceutical executive who mentions he kept asking questions. This means that outliers may not necessarily be outliers from birth and can change, showing that the predictions are fluid and human nature can actually take over and they change on a dime there. I really like the scenes showing Caleb and Dolores going to the facility in Mexico, which is where we presumed William would be. As Caleb and Dolores looked out across the expanse, it really did remind me of Teddy and Dolores at the start of Season 2. Teddy's theme even plays over this, and I miss my boy Teddy. I do miss him. The sniper rifle drone was very cool and reminded me of those neat missions in Call of Duty where you get some sort of experimental weapon, or Modern Warfare 2 where you're on the snow sniping mission there. At the Mexico facility, we learn that Caleb is not Serac's brother. While that was an interesting theory, and I was sort of expecting him to look in the mirror and change, or some sort of AI change, it would have been just a bit too far in my opinion. One interesting thing to note is that the mystery of Caleb is not technically over, as the code to note a deceased William on his profile there is the same for Caleb, but to be honest, another bait and switch identities is a bit much, and Caleb and William's separate stories are too interesting despite being on the same path there. They both have just changes and their own outliers there, so to speak. We learn that Solomon is still up and running and being used to either run the re-education facility or just being kept on ice like the rest in case Rehoboam fails. We need to know exactly what is going on there, and I imagine we will do in the future. It's very much as powerful as its bigger brother, but it is controlled by Serac's brother, or it is Serac's brother. A plot thread that will be totally pivotal to the end of the story there. If he is a human-machine hybrid, then this is big because this is what's hinted at what may come in the future. What is curious is what Serac says to the Outliers in the pre-recorded hologram is that he is no longer what he was, which at face value, yes, he is not what he was in the past at all. Serac has twisted the original aim, turning on his own brother when it was their dream together to actually save humanity. Now the question is, did Serac's brother decide to become a machine himself? Setting up a precedent for a twist later on is very important, and this is the setup to reveal that Serac has actually, or is Rehoboam, and that's how he locked anyone else out. When Solomon is also discussing Caleb's past and generally talking, it sounds eerily similar to Serac discussing his own past a few episodes ago. Maybe that is the cadence they have and the sound when we know that they are actually a AI there. William mentioned he sold data to Serac, so he has quite clearly made himself a host sleeve to act out his own violent delights. Now let's go back to how Solomon is controlling this facility, which we see as Caleb and Dolores enter the Mexico facility. A scene she has seen countless times. This again parallels humanity and hosts, just as hosts and humans have loops created by a crazy dude, that is of course Ford. Humans and hosts are also put in ice if they break the rules, as Dolores said. This scene is reminiscent to those warehouses where we have kind of hosts which have outlived their purpose. Caleb is now free to do what he wants, which is again a parallel to Dolores, and it does seem she is creating a human version of herself. Using knowledge of breaking free is integral here. Quite what her goal is very murky, as she mentions saving humanity, but plunges it into absolute chaos and wants a host reservation area, but only took copies of herself out of Westworld there. Regardless, we are now in the endgame here. Unshackled, Caleb can go to do what he wants. One issue there, how did the perfect person using a Rico app stumble across her right in her hour of need? Yes, that is a bit of a weird one, and it's curious to see if he was nudged in the right direction by Solomon or Rehoboam there. The one really big issue I have with this season is how Maeve has not actually moved on whatsoever and is constantly boring on about her daughter. While Tandy Newton has played this or her role perfectly, the character has no progression and is still simply used as a tool. Whether she sees Dolores as selfish for only saving herself remains to be seen, and that is why she is going on a rip-roaring rampage of revenge. Their battle reminded me so much of Kill Bill, especially the kitchen scene, and the swords just topped it off there. Dolores and Maeve are quite clearly not fully dead, and personally I do hate it when shows do this because they know they will return and won't die like that in the middle of a penultimate episode there. The humans are also on ice. Could they be dead or alive? I would assume that those pods have their own backup power, and Caleb waking them up and using them as his army would have personally been cool, but he probably put them there himself and we wouldn't get the sweet walk away shot that we had there, and they'll probably be a bit narked that he did that. We have the rest of Dolores' squad out there, and she also has a body in Berlin ready to go, and Maeve is also supported by Serac there, so she also has another body ready to go. William is more than likely going to shoot the hell out of Arnold and Stubbs and go on his way to destroy Dolores, which, funny enough, is really sort of all his own making there. He is now the good guy, but he's still very twisted and surely must see that Dolores' plan is not to destroy humanity, but live alongside humanity and have a kind of dual society. She came into the real world and found it to be broken and had to fix it on her way to saving her own people. This simply is just a detour season, even though last season was a bit more of a detour and a bit of a naff one at that. What made Westworld so great was each story worked together, but moving on from Westworld was a risk, but the themes of the West are still prevalent here throughout the entire show. Just like Native Americans, they wanted their own space. Dolores wants this too, but William is the party going west to live out their own manifest destiny. He is very much the Colonel Custer of the story here, destined to fail in his fight, but the war of the West will be won by someone in the end. He is now presumed dead, so can go on and do what he wants. Will we see him? They will all converge next in a fiery showdown. As a whole, the episode was gripping and a lot of fun, but I can't help but think not a lot has actually happened this season, which is a shame, and going forward to be a Game of Thrones heir will not happen. But that's okay, because this show does what it does very, very well, albeit being very, very slow. But we've got 3 seasons left of this, so there's a lot that can actually happen next, although we only have 1 episode left. But that is it for this video. Please do let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Please also hit that like and subscribe as well if you did enjoy the video. I will be expanding my thoughts on is Serac actually an AI in a video tomorrow as well. So please do let me know if you're excited for that. Don't miss a video. Subscribe with notifications on as well. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.